ये ये पूरा फोल्डर ही कॉपी किया है।
अच्छा, ये आउटसोर्स
ये वाला
हाँ।
ठीक है, मैं डेस्कटॉप पे डाउनलोड करती
और ये दो
हूँ आइकॉनिक और इंडियन। हाँ
और
ठीक है
चलाएंगे ये पहले, इससे मैं थोड़ी बातचीत करूँगा।
ठीक है ठीक है। सबसे पहले अपना स्लाइड आएगा ना, मतलब अपना आएगा ना। तो आई डोंट नो किधर है, अभी तो खुला था। इधर तो क्या हो रहा है? नहीं आलो झालं झालं आलं 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 इंटरनेशनल ये न्यू टैब को क्लोज करो। कौन सा? नहीं नहीं वीडियोस के बारे में नहीं है। हाँ आना है अभी अभी निकलता है। सबसे पहले ये वाला चलेगा, उसके बाद उनका वर्कआउट वीडियोस चलेगा। उधर ही खोल कर ये देखो, मैं बताती यहाँ पे कौन रहने वाला है। तो फिर मैं बता दूँ। हाँ नो वी आर गोइंग टू, बट देन यहाँ पे जो स्पीकर रहेगा ही हैव टू लुक, हम बार बार थोड़ी आएंगे। ओके सो ये एक है। अच्छा ठीक है, फिर हम उनको बता देंगे। बैक कैसे जाना है? हाँ
I request everyone to please settle down. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. On the occasion of World Architecture Day, we welcome you all for the inauguration of SDG and UNFCCC Students Hub with Millennium Fellowship Class of 2022 of Maharishi Karve's Three Shikshan Sanstha's Dr. Bhanubhai Nanavati College of Architecture for Women, Pune. Created by International Union of Architects in 1985, World Architecture Day is celebrated annually on the first Monday of October in parallel with UN World Habitat Day. The idea behind it was to celebrate and reflect on the state of our towns and cities and basic right of all for adequate shelter. It also intended to remind the world of its collective responsibility of future of the human habitat.
We at Bnca are elated to start the new academic calendar of SDG Student Hub and Millennium Fellowship with the establishment of UNFCCC, a student led initiative emphasizing on climate change. We are honored to have our eminent guest, architect Ojas Hirani, here with us for this inaugural ceremony. I would now like to hand over the dais to Professor Ketki Kadam to kindly introduce our guest.
So, architect Ojas Hirani has completed his bachelor's from CEPT And I'm going to read a little bit about his educational background because this might be very inspiring to all the students. Post his bachelor's from SEPT, he received a fellowship from Swiss Federal Institute, through which he studied rationalist architecture in Genova, Italy. Also studied regional architecture at various villages in Switzerland. He was working with Professor Benedict Huber. He's also studied cities and events and places with Professor George and Selevicius from New Mexico University, USA, and studied architectural conservation with Sir Bernard Fielden, ICCROM from Rome. So extensive studies, and that has been instrumental, I think, in his further practice as an architect and urban designer. He established his firm in 1989, Ojas Hirani Architects and Engineers, and they have successfully completed over 600 projects in architectural design, urban planning, space planning, riverfront developments, and so on and so forth. So thank you so much, sir, for gracing this occasion. We are absolutely delighted to have you here.
I'd now like to invite Dr. Anurag Kashyap sir, Kailash ji, Ojas sir, and to kindly felicitate our guests and say a few words. Please take a seat on the stage, sir. I'd now like to request Kashyap sir to please felicitate our guest and say a few words.
Today I am absolutely happy that this is the one of the biggest celebrations of World Architectural Day happening in Bnca in last 29 years since its inception, and the credit goes to Ojas Hirani ji, the one of the leading architect at national level, Hitesh ji. I also welcome Kailash ji. Kailash ji also is working on many national international projects, and our friend Piyush. I have already given a detailed idea of what this BNC is all about, and I actually congratulate all the students, leaders who have taken initiative in organizing this function. This is completely organized by all the students, sir. So, and today I thank Ojas Hirani ji for inaugurating SDG emblem in the courtyard, and I'm sure that all of you are very eager to watch his presentation and listen to his discourse. So I once again formally welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. Mr. Savarkarji, he has been the OSD for Devendra Fadnavis ji. And I'm glad to also welcome Dr. Asmita Joshi madam, who was in Kenya just 1 hour before. 1 hour before, in the sense, 1 hour before she arrived from Kenya, she had been there. She had participated in a conference on drone, right? Yes. So you could make it. You could made it. You arrive at the right moment. Okay. So I welcome Asmita ma'am also. I welcome all head of the departments. Then Mr. Vivek Sabnis from media, all my professors, students, and especially students leaders who could made it possible to celebrate this World Architecture Day at the hands of Ojaji. So I once again welcome Ojaji and thank you so much. We are all eager to watch your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I'd like to invite Ms. Ruchika Zadhav, the SDG Student Hub Coordinator at BNCA, to acquaint us with the club.
The Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a universal call action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure by 2030 entire humankind lives with peace and prosperity. The UN SDSN Youth is a network of universities and research institutions worldwide committed to sustainable development. The network endeavors to build pathways to achieve UN Sustainable Development Goals by mobilizing the universities, research, outreach, and collective actions. The SDG Students Program is an initiative of SDSN Youth that aims to engage students in higher education in the global effort to achieve 2030 Agenda and the SDGs, as well as empower them with the knowledge, skills, and pathways to act and be effective agents of the change today. Now I'd like to invite Ms. Samruddhi Purohit and Ms. Anushka Nagle, the UNFCCC Student Hub Coordinators at BNCA, to introduce the hub.
Jane Goodall once said, "What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." Established as an international environmental treaty to combat dangerous human interference with the climate system, in part by stabilizing greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere, the UNFCCC came into existence in the year 1992.
We, at BNCA's United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change Hub, are enthralled to be the pioneers towards climate change action and provide remedial solutions to safeguard our ecosystem. This initiative aims to provide a physical and virtual space for a global cross-disciplinary community of practice to share ideas and create viable and sustainable solutions in the spirit of radical cooperation.
Now, I'd like to invite Ms. Sania Mungle and Ms. Gayatri Dikshit, the campus directors of Millennium Fellowship, class of 2022 at BNCA.
Millennium Fellowship comes under UNEI and MCN and is a semester-long leadership development program.
We've chosen SDG 12. We've chosen SDG 12 for our project, that is responsible consumption and production, focused on environmentally sound management of all waste through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse. As architecture students, we end up spending a lot on models, materials, sheets, wood, plastic, etc. These often end up generating a lot of waste. The word reclaim means to get useful materials from waste products, and that's exactly what our project aims for.
The Green Rec, that is the Green Reclamation Project by Millennium Fellows at BNCA, aims to focus on environmental friendly lifestyle choices to ensure that our needs don't disrupt the balance of ecosystem. This will be a positive stride in achieving sustainable energy strategies on our campus, incorporating and exploring different materials. We would also like to thank our our guide Asmita ma'am for her constant support and guidance. We'll make sure this becomes a cycle and is continued even after we graduate. Thank you.
Now we'd like to invite Professor Piyush Girgankar to please say a few words.
Thank you so much for inviting me over the dais. I'll just take 2 minutes of yours to express or explain why this is a historic moment about UNFCC. First of all, I request you all to give a good, clear round of applause for everyone out here for primarily for three things. First, for being architects on a World Architecture Day. Second, being the part and parcel of BNCA's these initiatives, which are actually path-breaking, innovative, and also guiding to other colleges, other students. And third reason is for being able to listen to architects like Mr. Ojas Hirani. I would like to take this moment to congratulate you all the functionaries of Samstha, Professor Dr. Kashyap, and all the family of BNCA for being the first Indian college in India, of course, first Indian college to be a part on the United Nations framework on climate change. As we all know that we are already leading the way about climate change, landscape, environmental initiatives, the architectural interventions that are environmentally sensitive. This is our step to go out to the global audience on the global contours and contribute to the thought leadership of our policymakers, especially the Prime Minister of this country and also the other policymakers who have been helping him in his thrust. We at India have been already achieving a lot of goals that we had set, the duties that were asked to perform to India as a developing nation. The primary thought of BNCA becoming a partner at UNFCC was that not everything can be and should be handled by the government. Like the government can do everything, but should not do everything. As responsible citizens and also as a responsible institution who is known for its national contributions, we thought that we should take this occasion to mark our step into that way dominated space where the only developed countries get to speak about climate change. We are a society of 150 crore people. We are a big market. So why should we listen to the countries which are actually of districts size in India? So this is our step into a heavily dominated world as an institution. For that to succeed, I would request everyone to cooperate, our student coordinators and also the UNFCC Hub. I congratulate everyone once again for being the first Indian college on the United Nations framework on climate change. Thank you.
We'd now like to invite our honorable guest, architect Ojas Hirani, to share his views on Indian culture and architecture.
So all present dignitaries and my student friends. So when I entered into the campus, and when I heard so many stories about the college since its inception, I thought of joining this college as a student. So it has really attracted me because I was a student at SEPT, and the kind of workshop which we were having, when I was watching your workshop, Then I thought that a huge gap has occurred in so many years. So I congratulate all on this World Architecture Day. And when I was studying, uh, in my house at that time, a renowned archaeologist, Dr. V.S. Wakankar has come. And I was reading the old history of architecture book by Sir Bannister Fletcher. And he told me at that time that, okay, you study this book, but in coming days, the entire books of architecture will be changing. So at that time, I could not understand what he meant to say by putting that statement to me. I was just studying at that time. Then I went to study at ETH Zurich to do my urban design. I studied there also. That time also I have not realized it completely, but I almost forgot that statement which he has told me. After that, like madam has told something, I don't know from where he could gather all those uh, studies, documentation. So I went to various other institutions to get educated myself for better things, like ICROM for architectural conservation, MIT for some traditional water structures and its revival, the New Mexico University for how to look at the city as events and places, and to study regional architecture in Switzerland itself, and in Genoa for doing some rationalist architecture over there. But after that, I have started international practice. And like all other school of architectural Western thought, I also did those kind of projects. I'll show you some of them. You might get the idea that what kind of projects. These are some of the projects which I was doing in my early practice. Yeah, this could be by any architect. Of course, there were lots of technologies involved, Ecotect and those kind of softwares involved. But still, they are those kind of projects. So when I was doing this kind of international practice all over, doing projects for Microsoft, for Boeing, developing their campuses all across the world, then suddenly our honorable Prime Minister, when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, he has called me. And he recently became trustee of Sri Somnath Trust. So he took me there at Somnath Temple and told me that there is only one temple out here. How can we attract more people over here? So just think in that direction. So that was the starting point where I have started to change my practice, and then I have started to understand the point which Dr. V.S. Wakankarji has made when I was a student. So then I went to do lots of research on Somnath and its environs and found out so many things. There was only one temple where people used to go and then come back after just doing namaskar to Lord Shiva. But then I started to understand what kind of a place it is, what kind of cultural fabric Somnath is having. Then I knew that, oh, the Lord Moon has come over here. But there is nothing about Lord Moon out there. It is because Daksha Prajapati has cursed him for doing pakshapat to one of his wife, Rohini. So that's the reason why he has come there. And because of him, the Lord Shiva had to come there. So nobody was knowing about all these instances, only scholars or some people who are much more interested in history, they only knew about it. So there was nothing about Lord Moon out there. There was nothing about constellations, because of which Lord Shiva has to come to Somnath. There was nothing about the Prabhasa Kshetra, which used to happen as the cradle of knowledge in that region. There are 4 places under which that Prabhasa Kshetra used to come, and where lots of Rishi Muni has done lots of tapascharya and lots of inventions in that particular place. Like Kanad Muni has written the atomic theory out there, the theory of Kan. Then Yagnavalkya and Vaishampayan also has worshipped there, and they wrote Shukla Yajurved, Krishna Yajurved in that vicinity. Then I have realized I have started making 50 these kind of projects like this. So then I have realized that why people go all across the world and not coming to India. And even Indians people, we even don't know what is happening around us, because we don't know our cultural fabric very much. And there is no effort has been done so far to highlight this cultural fabric or to interpret this cultural fabric into architecture, so the common people also can know about all these things. And even if they know, and even if the architects try to do it in a way, that was a mediocre kind of way, because all these projects are mostly government projects, and government projects in those days were done only by those kind of people, those kind of architects who are better with the government line of people and who are compatible with those kind of practice. So then I have realized that we have lots and lots of things. Wherever you put your foot in India, you will find something or the other. And after that, I have started to understand what Vakankarji was saying. Because in those books, you will find everything has come from the West. After they have found this Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lothal, then they told that, okay, brick masonry work has been come from you, but the stone work, we are the pioneers. And Stonehenge, done by Vikings, was the first stone monument. But when they found Dholavira, it was a stoneworks township 1,000 years before the Stonehenge. Then now all history books are getting rewritten. So after that I have realized that, okay, there is so much to do here. Why go and waste time to do in the entire world? And then my focus has changed. And we have made another this kind of firm called Center for Sustainable Research and Development. And we have started to understand what India is, what kind of cultural fabric it has, what kind of projects government should do, how to put those kind of projects into the system, how to get the budget for these kind of projects, and how to put them into reality. So that is the practice I think which one should do. because I took so many years. I almost wasted so many years doing these kind of all Western kind of projects. And then I have realized that there are so many things around me which I needs to highlight, which I needs to get close to the people. People should understand what is around us. In Maharashtra, I don't know, hardly people would be knowing that there are 84 seaports in Maharashtra. They must be equal to all seaports of the world. There are 600, more than 600 ports over here. So we have to see this uniqueness which is around us. And being an architect, I think we should start thinking that direction. And after I have realized, then we have started to join people, because it's not one man's job. So now there are more than 40 architectural firms, the best firms. So we have included those kind of firms, and we have asked them to work on these kind of projects as well, rather than doing just commercial projects. And there are now more than 2,000 architects we have joined in this movement. I'll show you some of the glances of the projects, and if the time permits, then I'll show some projects in detail. So when we went to Leh with the delegation of that time Tourism and Cultural Minister of Government of India, then we have realized that they are so good at ice skating, but they don't have any facilities or thing like that. They were natural ice skaters. And when they went to some international competitions, they won that competition. Afterwards, they have realized the potential of the people of Leh or surrounding Leh. Then we are proposing one this kind of ice skating stadium, which also can serve for multi-purpose games also. So this is one of the project which we have initiated. Some images. Then Principal sir was talking about the digital architecture, which I think the initiative which this college has taken. So this is one of that kind of a project which we are doing. This is in Himachal Pradesh, because we know that unity in diversity is our strength. And each and every state has a state flower. Maharashtra also must be having one. Gujarat is having one marigold. Himachal Pradesh is having rhododendron. So we are developing a bouquet of flowers. It's a flower park basically. Each and every petal represents one state's flower. And each and every petal is climatically controlled. So with tablet you can create the microclimate for all these petals. So this is one project which is coming up in Dharamshala. It is on the similar line which I think you also, you people also are working, and you have a very high-tech lab over here for this. So this is one of that kind of a project. We are introducing lateral lifts for the first time, which is on angle, with a convention center in between. Near Manali, there is a village called Prini, and just above the Prini village, there is Hamta Valley. And our former Prime Minister, Atalji, has a house in Prini. So like here, you have this Rambhav Malgi Prabodhini kind of thing at Uttan. we are developing one museum cum center on the name of Atalji at Hamta Valley, with all those activities all around the year in Hamta Valley. Because Atalji is a very balanced personality, so you can see some kind of a balanced thing over here. So we have tried to introduce those kind of thing also. And Kailash ji is sitting over here. We are also working to develop some areas around Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. And we are trying to develop, we have proposed world's largest museum over there. When it comes to museum, we have done some museums in recent past, like if you all have heard about this Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, we were part of it. There were lots of people involved in that. We are also doing Gita Museum at Kurukshetra at the moment, named Jyoti sir. So this is all about it. Here also, even the landscape is quite cultural kind of landscape, where you will get the feel of old Ramayana characters and all kind of aranyas which you used to have, and the culture which you used to cultivate in that era, like Dandakaranya, Naimisharanya, and whatever events have taken place. And all these places which we are developing them in such a manner that they should work as inspiration center. So because otherwise there is no use of doing these big monuments and structures, and if people don't get inspired from the personalities for which on which name we are doing these kind of things, so their qualities are still relevant. And if we can get people attract to these qualities by inspire them, so how can we inspire through architecture? So these are some of the examples which I'm just putting across to you. Delhi, you all must be aware about its history, but mainly for laymen, Delhi is a city mainly developed by Mughals, or they have certain colonial influence at the later age. But very hardly people know about what Hindu kings have done prior to these Mughal invaders and all. So what Tomar Vansh people have done, what Chauhan Vansh people have done, what have been done during Mahabharat era or much beyond that. So we are developing these kind of heritage parks. One also we are doing it for Ahmedabad on Sabarmati riverfront. This is the Delhi Heritage Park, which we are doing at Coronation Park in Delhi. So we just want to show them that what kind of a city it was, and what all kingdoms have contributed to make this city which is so functional and which is the capital city of India today. So just by going there for a few hours, you'll be able to understand that, okay, the first subterranean structure was done by Tomar Vansh Raja at Suraj Kund, or things like that. I'm not explaining you the entire project. Maybe we will take one or two examples where I can give you some more details about the project. I'm just touching upon what kind of projects which we are doing and which we are identifying. And we are using all the technologies which are available with us. You will find that in Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya also. So it's all 100% digitized museums. Here also we want to do the same, so the common people have deep understanding. This project is not yet done, but I like to showcase this project in detail earlier. It's an iconic structure in the lane of Central Vista at Delhi, which we have proposed. So this I'll show it to you in detail, that what is the concept and how we have derived this kind of a concept. This project is almost about the completion. It is at Himachal Pradesh Mandi, Shivdham. What has happened that Himachal Pradesh government want to project Mandi as Choti Kashi, and to boost that concept, what can be done? That was the thinking process, out of which we have asked them that if somewhere all together, where people can also do their rituals. So I think that will definitely add. So on there is a mountain in Mandi called Kangnidhar. So this is on top of Kangnidhar. It is overlooking Mandi. So it's a very majestic location. It is almost touching its completion. So this is Shivdham, just to boost the concept which the state government is already having. Because you will see, all these temples which used to happen, like in our Setrunjay mountain in Gujarat, in Girnar mountain in Gujarat, you will see these kind of ensemble of temples at the top of the hill. So we are just recreating that kind of situation over here. This is done entirely by Kailas ji. It is the wayside amenity project for Leh Ladakh, and they have identified all the cultural elements out there, and they have developed this concept. This is again a very interesting project, because our Honorable Prime Minister is very keen on highlighting our soft power to the entire world. And one of the soft power is the art traditions of India. We have a very rich art traditions in India. Some of them have already been diminished. Some of them are still diminishing day by day. They are disappearing. We are not getting those kind of arts because we are not patronizing all the arts and crafts. So it was his desire that somewhere in the mountains, like in ancient times, people used to go to forest to understand and to learn things. So here in Lahore Spiti Valley, we are developing this project where 10,000 students at a time can take the learning of our art traditions in Gurukul system. So teacher and student, they stay together and then they start learning all these things. So this project is coming up. It's a very interesting project. Just behind this project are very beautiful glaciers and all. So if you cross the Atal tunnel, just after I think 5 kilometers away from Atal tunnel, on your way to Kelong or Ladakh, you will find this site on your left. So again, this is a very interesting site. At the same time, we are recreating the Bamiyan Buddha sculpture in the mountains out there, which the Taliban have destroyed completely in year 2000 or 2001. So it's all biomes which we are creating, because it's a very extreme climate, and it's about the altitude of 12,000 feet. So even the air is very thin out here comparatively, and so the architecture also is like that. It gets merged with the surroundings and not creating lots of fuss about or not destroying the mountains completely. So basically it's about creating biomes in caves. you can see some of the plans which are given on this bottom of this slide. Just on the edge of Chandra river. Chandra is meeting Bhaga at Triveni Sangam, which is happening just few miles away from this. Then we are recreating some of the cities which have very historical importance, as well as they were the most flourishing cities of the world, like Sravasti. Sravasti was used to be and said to be the most flourishing city of the not only India, but at that time the comparison of Sravasti was with Rome and Athens and those kind of cities, which were much more economically powerful. So we at the same time you can see that Sravasti is the most backward district of India at the moment. So we are recreating the entire Sravasti in 64 square kilometer of area. It's entirely net zero project. So no carbon footprints you will find anywhere. And the entire city will be self-sustainable. It will generate its own energy needs. So this is one of the cities. Like that we are doing some more of this nature, like Kushinagar also we are doing. Some of the slides which are, because it has lots of Buddhist influence, and Buddha has done his 24 Varshavas over here. Means most of Buddha's preaching was done at this particular place. So we are doing the entire city, keeping the existing settlement as it is. Then about our spiritual destination, I think Prime Minister has very keen interest in developing our spiritual destination. Like we are doing Kedarnath, its entire planning and the Samadhi of Adi Shankar. Then we are developing one Sphatik one also. It's a basically entirely crystal garden, because there is no scope for green landscape in this because of the climatic considerations. And we are doing Maun Mandir. It is our Prime Minister's vision to create these kind of Maun Mandirs in the caves around the mountains which are there in the vicinity of Kedarnath. We are making Himachal as the hub of wellness, because if you see the past history, you will find that people used to go for the change of air to these places. Even when I was reading Patra Roop Sri Swamiji of Swami Vivekanand, he also used to write that, okay, I am going to Almora or this place because I have developed this kind of disease. So it's always there. So just to consolidate that idea, we are developing few modular wellness centers all across Himachal Pradesh, some state of the art, some at district level, and some at modular type, which you can find at airports and bus stations and railway stations and like that. So because the strength of Himachal is, if you go there, just stay there, then you feel good because of their pure air and all. Buddha relics have always remained the tool of diplomacy for Britishers, because most of these relics they have been excavated during Britishers' times. So likewise in Kapil Vastu, they have found the relics of Lord Buddha, and it has been kept at National Museum, Delhi. So what we are doing is in a place called Astha Kunj in Delhi, we are now showcasing these relics of Lord Buddha. at this particular place. We call it Grand Relic Stupa. Another relics which have been found at Devni Mori in Gujarat. There we are making world's largest Buddhist destination in 400 hectares of land. So again, it's a huge project. It's a city in itself. And all these projects, mind you, they all are net zero project, because we are talking about sustainability and all. So all these projects which we are doing, because it's a need of the time, and the target of India is 2070. By 2070, the entire country will have to be net zero. So why not? We will have to start today. So that's the reason all these projects are energy efficient, and they are net zero project. So this is at Astha Kunj, Delhi, where we are doing this Grand Relic Stupa. The interpretation center, it's a kind of a museum which will showcase everything about. Again, it's at a place where Buddha has stayed for 2 days on his way to Kurukshetra and given his most important preaching over here. And another project, I think this also I'll show it in bit in detail. If you recall, our Prime Minister has just gone on 16th May to Nepal, Lumbini, where the Buddha was born. And he has inaugurated this project over here. This will be a gift of India to Nepal. It's an India International Center for Buddhist Culture and Heritage. It is at the World UNESCO Heritage Site and at the place where Buddha was born. I'll tell some more thing about this in detail. So these are a few of the projects which I just touched upon. But how we are approaching these people, this project, that I'll show you few examples. So government of India has declared that they want some iconic structure to start the celebration of 75th year of independence. So how we are developing the projects? I'm just telling you one case study. Then you will realize that what is this lecture all about, culture and architecture. This is in the lane of the Central Vista, which is happening at Delhi. So Rashtrapati Bhavan, then entire Central Vista, India Gate, and when it touches to Yamuna River, just on the river bank, they have proposed this kind of an iconic building out there. So what is the vision of India? So we have tried to study that first. Then what are the design ethos which we have tried to incorporate? That unity and diversity is one of the ethos. Then the manifestation of Swa, because we still maintain this spirit of Swatantrata after so many invasions of 2000 years. So that manifestation of Swa, so how we can incorporate that manifestation in the building. Then it should be all of India togetherness. It has to be like that. Then we call it Bharat Mata. So how we can celebrate the Bharat Mata, the motherland, our nurturing abode. And then Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Yeah, because we believe that entire world is our family. And then we have several design objectives to celebrate culture, values and spirit. then project the pride, dreams and vision, then rightful place of Bharat Mata, our motherland, and acknowledgement of the valuable contribution of different disciplines. Then the university and diversity, how this culture is over there that celebrates its diversity, what are the kind of diversities which it's have, and then by different mantras which we always hear and we always get inspired, we have developed our primary designs from these kind of verses, and how we have come the developed the geometry of that particular structure. So by taking various forms and by putting them all together, how we have developed the entire form. So this is the kind of thing which we have started to work on, and then taken inspirations from what we already have and we already see for last thousands of years, and then arriving to some kind of form. We are taking the land, the earth from all these places, and we are doing something with rammed earth technologies. So it's constitutes the entire Bharat Mata at one place. We are taking water from all the holy rivers of India and putting them in one place to make it all India project. So these are the kind of things which we have tried to incorporate over here, and then finally the structure which have been evolved. And what we are doing over there, because I told you, no, because our sovereign Hindu thought is so powerful. We were the pioneers in almost everything. You take Hindu mathematics, Hindu science and technology, Hindu universities, Hindu astronomy, Hindu astrology, Hindu metallurgy, Hindu view on environment, Hindu judicial system, Hindu social systems, Hindu literature, you take anything. We were pioneers. So that we are going to showcase in this particular place. And not only the past, what still we can offer to the world, because we always tell that it's India's century. Mahasi Arvind used to say that it's India's century. But what exactly we can offer to the entire world? We call it the soft power of India. So that also will be part of this particular project, where we'll be showcasing that how India still can help with its Ayurveda, yoga, arts, crafts, dance, drama, music. So how we can make this world still better with the wisdom we are still possessing. So that's the basic idea which we have given in this project. What kind of elements we have used, how we have taken the inspiration, and all these cubes will take one aspect of our culture and will showcase it to the entire people of India. So these are the kind of conception which we used to have. So this is a basic design process, because see, they only want everything in 8 to 10 pages. So I have there has been lots of research which have been went when we were doing this process. We have met lots of people and personalities and taken their feedback during that time, and after only we have come to that form. So this is just a process. it's a sample process which I showed it to you, that how we are conceiving the form of these kind of projects at the moment. So this is one of them. I can show you few of them, but not all of them, because there are so many on which we are working. How can I make it into full? Okay. So this is that Lumbini project which I told you. See, it is said that when Buddha was born, he took 7 steps, and at each and every step, the lotus has bloomed. So, with that conception, because we are doing it at the birthplace of Buddha, so we have made the structure in that manner, that there are 7 steps, and then you will find a lotus on top of it. So basically, it's the entire site is UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's in 3 kind of zones. One are the sacred gardens of Lumbini, another is the monastic zone, and the third one is the new Lumbini village. And there are already some projects from across the world manifesting their kind of architecture, because Buddhist architecture is different in each and every Buddhist country. So this is that concept of 7 steps and lotus. So I am not going into the details of the presentation. I am just showing you how we are approaching these kind of projects, and how we are developing these kind of forms. Some of the plans and interiors. I told you, no, it will be the first net zero project of Nepal. Nepal has the deadline of 2045 for the entire country to make net zero, and this will be the first of its kind project there in Nepal. So we are doing lots of different kind of technologies to make it completely net zero. So rather than showing these kind of presentations, I have given you the glimpse of all these presentations. I like to have some questions from your side, because I can show you many more of this kind, but I'm more interested in getting some questions from you. So that may suffice some clarifications which you may require from my sides, that what kind of projects, how we are doing it, and on things like that. So these kind of presentations can go on, and they are mostly those kind of presentations which any architect should make. But I told you, no, in the beginning, that what's the difference. Earlier also I was doing project, and now also I am doing the project, but now I am just looking that what kind of project which I love to do, which can be more beneficial, and many people can get more benefits about knowing the cultural fabric around the project itself, right? So anyone from you? Yes. Hmm. Yes, because you will be surprised to know that every time I'll talk of architecture with him, I always learn some new things from him, though he is not an architect. And he goes into details. So when he talks about Kedarnath, when he calls me sometimes on the phone itself, some 30 minutes, 40 minutes, he used to explain each and everything that okay, in Adi Shankar Samadhi I want everything underground, and I want it with natural light coming from it, from the top. So I hardly few clients you will meet in your life that will tell you these kind of details, that I need very specific this kind of thing and that kind of a thing. Because Kedarnath, you know that even if you will have to get pin from outside, you will have to bring it there through a helicopter. So it's a very difficult site. You will hardly work 3 or 4 months in a year at that particular site, but still he is very clear in his vision. So the clarity of vision is there with him. And because I think he has traveled a lot, he has seen a lot, and he has a special uh, uh, you can say liking for architecture or architectural projects or technology. He gives you each and every detail, so you don't have to worry much about it. Only thing that you'll have to perform your best, because he has a very great taste in architecture. So if you are missing out something, then he may not like it, but he is thoroughly very clear, and every time you meet you learn something new. And he will never point out those kind of things that this is not good, this is not good, how this can be made even better. He always suggests you these kind of things. So this is his way of working. And yeah, obviously he is lot more into bringing out our culture through architecture. There are projects going on all across India of this nature now. Otherwise India was earlier also was there, but you hardly see these kind of projects coming up. I'll give you one example. When he became Chief Minister of Gujarat, the budget of tourism was rupees 5 crore. And when he retired or went to become a Prime Minister, at that time the budget of tourism for Gujarat government was 500 crore. So in those 10-12 years, it was almost 100 times. So he is very keen on developing these kind of projects. At the same time, he has a lot more interest on technology, on this sustainability, net zero aspect, and he understands each and means more than us. When you talk about sustainability with him, you always learn something new from him. So this is my experience, and maybe because it's very hard to get him these days. Only on these kind of functions you'll get him, or when he was CM, he was really very accessible, but now it's difficult. But still, in my shorter time, whatever I have visualized, I've just told you about it. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah. So, actually, when you are talking about net zero, so we are still in discussion phase. Our country is only in discussion phase. People in conference, in seminars, and they always discuss about net zero, sustainability. But when you do these kind of projects, then you face the real challenges. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. And sometimes because it's expensive in the beginning, so it's very difficult to convince client about it. In this project also, if you can see this India international project, the half of the cost is of MEP and HVAC and all these kind of stuff. So it's very expensive. Usually it's almost around 10 to 20% cost which you can give to MEP kind of things. But here it's almost equal. And if you want to make it more efficient, then it may go beyond 50% also, the cost. So to put all these things in reality is a big challenge. And we have asked for some cities, but we have been given one sector of Chandigarh, sector 29, that we are making the entire sector net zero. So we are getting challenges each and every day, that how we'll manage this and how we'll manage that. There are lots of challenges, of course. The cost is the biggest one. The second is the adaptability of the people. People are still not thinking that how can we get electricity without getting electric connection, or how we can survive with water problems without getting any water connection whatsoever from the authorities. So these are some of the challenges, because the mindset of the authority is such that without water connection it's always difficult. But if you see our ancient old cities, like old city of Ahmedabad, they all have their underground tanks where they used to store the entire annual storage of water in monsoon season only. So these are the kind of things which we are suggesting, but in a modern way. But still it will take some time to change the mindset of the people, because people are not accustomed with these kind of terminologies or with this kind of approaches. It's very new to them, though it's our ancient wisdom. So we are just putting it across, but we always will have to try for these kind of projects. Challenges are always there. Yeah, cost is one of the biggest. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah, I told you, no, because I have not shown that project in detail. We are creating the entire climatically controlled biomes over there, because the air in Lahore Spiti area at this altitude is very thin. So, and in winter it's all snow, so you will not be able to work. So to make the entire campus functional throughout the year, we are making climatically controlled biomes over there. So they are basically spheres which are climatically controlled. and they are 4-story, 5-story, those kind of big spheres, but they are inside the caves. Yeah, if I'll show that project to you in detail, then you may get the idea. Every project, each and every project has their challenges, but we are there to solve it. Yeah, the architecture is all about that, solving problems which are coming across to you. If everything is very smooth, then what's the fun of becoming an architect? Yeah. I told you, no, my life was very easy doing all these kind of projects, getting brief. It's all stereotype. I don't have to do much. Whatever I was learning, I just had to put them on paper and on all those things. It was a very easy life, sitting in an air-conditioned office in Zurich, yeah, looking at Swiss Alps on one side. So the life there was very easy, but the satisfaction was not there because the challenges were not there. Yeah, when I was studying even my urban design out there, my site was the central area of Zurich, where they told me that it's an industry quarter and you'll have to evacuate all the industries out and you'll have to make a shift in city center over there. So when I went to the site first, then I realized that was the first time I went out from India. That was in 1988, I am telling. So at that time, I saw that everything is so beautiful. What better can I do over here? So then I told my professor that this is, I don't think that I can make something better here. The thing which is there is so beautiful, I can't even imagine. So they told me that you stay there for few days, and then started realizing some problems. And then I went to one of my friend who was living in that particular area for 15 days. And then I realized what kind of problems they were having. And then I have started that, okay, these are the problems, then how to how to tackle all these kind of things, all these kind of problems over there. Yeah. So that's the thing. But when you change your mindset, and then when you start to do something which is more required, then there are lots and more challenges. So now I find more challenges, but the satisfaction level is also very high. Yeah. Rather than doing all those campuses and buildings and societies, and these are much more satisfactory, because then you can gather people, you can give them lots of knowledge which they are not aware of. Yeah. So that's the thing.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Is there any major project coming up with Maharashtra? Because you had just mentioned that the state of Maharashtra has a beauty of various kind of seafoods and land sport and land foods. So, is there any major project is coming up architecturally in Maharashtra, or either in Pune or in the periphery of this cultural place?
Yes, actually I'm working on one of the project about, I'm doing lots of research about Raigad and surroundings, and the road from Mahad to Raigad. So if we can make it a cultural kind of a highway, yeah. So I'm working on that project, and if we can see, it's a very interesting question, and how to approach and how to find this kind of a project. Nobody knows about this kind of a project at the moment, but we are just proposing that if we can make that strip in such a manner that it will showcase the life journey of Shivaji, because Shivaji has established Hindu Samrajya in those days, where you will find lots of invaders at that time, and even colonial people also used to enter India from the sea route. So at that time he was holding the entire thing. So it was his journey from a common man to become a king. Yeah. So if we can make the entire path as Rajyarohan path, so how a simple man can become a king? So that kind of a journey, if we can showcase in that cultural route, that will be a very unique kind of highway, and people started to get inspired because Shivaji has lots of qualities which are still relevant in whatsoever manner. So by making this kind of a journey, people also realize that what contribution he has made in those days to keep India intact, or keep this particular part intact from all these invaders. So it's a very interesting question, and we are always when we go to these kind of places, we always see that what can be done, and then we propose it to the government or to the authorities, and then we make them the real project to come. So we are working on these kind of projects which are, I think, near Pune at least, and maybe one day this project can become a reality. That's what we are hoping. Yes. If you can speak it in mic.
Okay, so from the projects that you have shown, there was a lot of mythological and cultural impact on the design. So how do you actually begin with it, or how do you educate yourself on it?
Yeah, see, because architects are always creative and they think what other cannot think. So when somebody told me the story of this Chandra and Shiva, because Shiva has told Chandra that okay, because it's Daksha Prajapati's curse, so I cannot fully cure it. So your brightness will come and then it will go. Then I thought, okay, that the crescents of moon have started from that particular place. So then we have made the plaza of crescents at that particular place. Yeah. So then you'll have to think in that way, because you will have to interpret all these stories which are, and these are not stories. You will find all these stories in our scriptures with lots of references and all. Yeah. So you will have to think in that way. Nobody has ever imagined before that the crescent of moon is started from Somnath, but it is the reality. It's written in Rigved. There are so many pages in Rigved about this particular phenomena. So then, to make people understand about this story, we have made the plaza of crescents at that particular place. And you will see lots of sundials all across the world, but you must have not seen moon dial. We have made moon dial also there, which is again a very difficult. So lots of research work also and lots of imagination have to come into the picture to make these kind of projects. Yeah. But when you go to these kind of places, you will come across these kind of stories, and you come across lots of scriptures about it. So when we are doing this Devni Mori development at Shamlaji in Gujarat, then we have realized that at that particular place, Shamlaji School of Sculptural Arts was very famous in 6th and 7th century. People used to come from all the countries to learn sculptural arts. And at that time, you will see lots of good sculptures, Matruka, Saptamatruka, Vishwarup Vishnu, that have been occurred in that time. And in Michelangelo's diary, which they have found, he has written that while making Pieta, he was inspired by the sculptures of Indian west coast, Matar, that is Matruka. So how do people know about all these things? That even Michelangelo was inspired with these kind of sculptures. So we have dedicated the entire riverfront which we are making to Shamlaji School of Sculptural Arts. So like that we are weaving the cultural into our projects, yeah, and make people understand that what kind of a place it is and what kind of a place it was, what it has offered to the entire world. So lots of research work. It's very interesting. Once you start doing these kind of projects, no, whenever you go, you will find something or the other. And India is that way very unique. See, our problem is that we are not glorifying our things because we have everything in abundance. And in US, if you go a abundant coal quarry, they glorify it in such a manner that they will charge you $100 to put you through roller coaster through the entire abandoned coal mine. So that's the difference. They are glorifying whatever less they are having. Our problem is abundance. Everywhere you put your leg, you will find lots and lots of things. So that's our problem. But I think more and more architects will have to understand this and try to join into these kind of projects which are really essential for our country, because we are very ignorant people. We don't know that what kind of a divine land we are having and what kind of divine personalities we had in this particular area around us. So we'll have to make people understand through our projects. That is one of the aspect of looking at this architecture. Because my subject is this, so I have focused only on this part of it. But technologies always are welcome. It's not that you don't have to use the present day technologies, or you'll have to invent some maybe. So that is also possible, right? Any other questions? Maybe sometimes we can have only these kind of sessions, not showing presentations at all, just questions, because you should have lots of questions. When you ask lots of questions, then you will start understand the process in a good way. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Actually, my coming here is not scheduled or not part of your agenda, but I would like to express something. थोड्याशा 1-2 मिनटं गप्पा मारायच्या मला ओजस साहेबांच्या आर्किटेक्चरवर. मराठी समजतं थोडं थोडं? नाही, इट्स डिफिकल्ट. बरं. See, why I came here, I'll try to put into very simple language, but today it was a quite eye-opener discourse, and especially my professors, I think some of them have already left chupke se, piche se, because they were also, saas bhi kabhi bahuti, professors were also students sometimes, so old habits die hard. So, what I want to point out is I came across today a very different cult in architecture. Have you noticed this? Normally you are given design a bungalow, design ownership, design this factory, design 5-star hotel, design airport, etc., etc. And you design it, you think that you are designing it out of context. But today what I realized is the context is playing so powerful role in the manifestation of architect or the philosophy. So it is a metaphysical expression of Indian philosophy, Indian culture, Indian tradition, Indian conventions into very powerful architectural expression. Shall I speak in simple language? Okay, see, you are designing a bungalow. I like the question what the student asked. What's your name? Vedika. Yeah, the name is also Vedika. Great. So, see, we have very powerful culture, philosophy, religious background, and as he said, there is uniqueness being an Indian or in India. What architecture we have seen so far, very unfortunately, a blindly following Western architectural pattern. Okay? You take any example so far, most of the architectural buildings which are constructed or whatever the great architects, so-called great architects who are sitting on an ivory tower, etc., they have designed wonderful structures, but they had nothing to do with Indianness. Today I got a shock today, let me tell you, I have to control myself, or I have to digest what he showed here. It's not easy, understand this. Converting philosophy, Indian philosophy into architecture, what kind of research he must be doing back end. And so this kind of cult, I would like to start in Bnca. That's why I gave you a chair to please sit down, and I would like to invite you as the Professor Emeritus for Bnca. So if you can give some time, and I would like to promote this cult in India. I don't think officially any institute so far has adopted this cult. And there are so many things here. As he said, wherever you keep your foot, you come across lot of things, historical things, then religious things, but they never gets reflected into architect's design. That's the problem. Okay, so I would like to invite him for a longer period, maybe a full day or so, to conduct a workshop, and please guide all of us on your style of working and the way you have developed this particular style. You are blessed to work with the fantastic personality like Modi ji, and you are coming together, both of yours. We are getting wonderful architectural designs across India. And somebody asked the question about Maharashtra also. I think you asked the question. Was it really eye-opener? डोळे उघडणारा प्रश्न आहे हा. महाराष्ट्रात आपण काय केलं आहे शिवाजी महाराजांसाठी? दाखवता का एखादी गोष्ट? किंवा बाजीराव पेशव्यांसाठी काय होती आहे, पण एक होती आहे. As he said, Maharashtra, you keep your foot anywhere and you will come across so many things, which is neglected by your so far architectural education in every college. Let me tell you. असं कुठल्याच कॉलेजमध्ये मला दिसलं नाही की जिथे तुमचा जो स्वतःचा इंडिजिनसनेस आहे, स्वतःची जी फिलॉसॉफी आहे, युअर ओन ट्रॅडिशन इतक्या पॉवरफुली एक्सप्रेस करता येते तुमच्या आर्किटेक्चरल डिझाईनमध्ये. फॅन्टॅस्टिक. हॅट्स ऑफ टू हिम. वी मस्ट गिव्ह हिम अ बिग हँड टुगेदर. त्यामुळे माझे प्रोफेसर्स पाहिजे होते आज, पण त्यांना काहीतरी खूप मोठी कामं आहेत असं माझ्या लक्षात आलं, ओनरशिप डिझाईन करण्याची किंवा बंगले डिझाईन करण्याची. सो मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर नॉट हिअर. पण आय विल टेक अप दिस कल्ट and let us develop it very systematically. I think this is Modi's dream also. That Modi ji is giving us back our own wajud, our own pehchan, our own identity as Indian. So what I see is the lost identity so far in architecture, I found in his architecture that yes, I found this identity as being Indian, you know. And I'm sure if he continues like this, world is going to follow him, definitely. And so it is actually, I'm sorry, I was not much aware about this kind of architectures so far, your projects. So today we got opportunity to come to witness whatever you have designed. So please accept our offer as a professor emeritusship, and on your name, let us start the cult here. I will see to it that in our audit courses or in our electives, this particular cult, if we can incorporate in the syllabus. And because otherwise, you know, architecture, what context we are referring to, tell me? We are referring to only topography, climate, tropical country, this and that, and the famous examples are given. If we are designing in Goa, you have to have sloping roof. If you are designing in Ahmednagar, then you have to have flat roof. Bas, you know, you start with that, you end with that. But Goa is not only about sloping roof, okay, much beyond that. So this lecture, his discourse was very eye-opener, as a very eye-opening. So, and we are definitely going to start this cult here. I will establish a department on this particular cult, and definitely one day Modi ji also will be happy if we start something like this in an educational institute. So I thank Piyush for getting Ojas ji and Sarancha now Visalupur. Yes, Hitesh ji once in Bnca. Today we actually don't have much time to discuss elaborately on this, but as a professor emeritus, we will keep organizing your lectures and discourses, and not only for this college, but through this particular platform, we would like to enlighten architects in general, architects community in general, and it's there should be awakening of architects and what kind of fall context they were designing so far, whoever the great architect is. But you know, this is something totally giving our identity back. So thank you so much, and we will discuss, we'll take this ahead. So it's not that one a great architect came here, he gave his discourse, and at the end of it, no, it is the beginning, let me call it as, and I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I already told you, no, that it's not about my journey, because we'll have to make India big, not the person. That's why we have involved around 2,000 architects across India in this process, and I am accepting your offer because it's my job that lot and lot people do these kind of architecture in our country. Thank you so much.
Just have a very quick announcement to make. Because of the very famous Chandni Chowk that is happening, our other guest Siddharth Desai could not come on time, but he's reaching now in 5 minutes here. I don't request you to sit here. He'll be there in the courtyard. If you are around, do join. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, thank you, Ojas sir, for insightful presentation. And to be honest, I have visited one of his projects in Delhi, the Prime Minister's Museum, and it was a very, very different experience, which I was never expecting a museum to be. So anytime if a tour is planned in Delhi, or if you are in Delhi, please visit it. So I would request Ojas sir to, take us to these unique structures, so that on our tours the students are more excited and learn a little bit more about how these structures are constructed, complete how these challenges are faced by you and how you are executing these projects in some different environments. Second, I would like to just update about what me and Asmita ma'am have experienced in Kenya. Right now, we have just been back from the drone flying labs, which is which is a consortium of all the countries representing themselves. We were very, very surprised that technology can be used for good purpose and how it is used in a very different way. So more about it tomorrow at the event. Yes, in detail. So thank you so much to the CSRD Foundation to be part of this program, and best wishes to students and architects in the room. Thank you.
Let me tell you something very, very, very important. It's a new milestone in the journey of last 28 years or 29 years journey of BNCA. There were many milestones, turning points, achievements at national, international level. But today there is one more achievement, one more feather in the cap of BNCA because of these two beautiful ladies here. They have just returned from Kenya. And let me tell you that BNCA is going to be the first ever institute across Asian subcontinent to start drone academy here. So, for women, yes, yes. So this is the first ever. Come here. So, no, all contributors, please come here. So this is the team, and actually there is nothing to give them to felicitate at the moment in my hand, but I'll definitely give them the 5-star chocolates later on. Okay, so this is a very auspicious moment that they have returned from Kenya International Conference on Drones, and BNCA shall soon start. Already drone is there. I think most of the girls are not aware, but our first drone has already arrived, and soon the drone courses we are starting. Do participate in these drone courses because they are extremely useful in architecture and planning, etc. So give all these 4 ladies a big hand that they have done that. Great. And this is a team of 4 girls, you see, you look so young, I call you girls, okay? So, but the credit, the number 1 credit goes to Nidhi. It was Nidhi's concept, it was Nidhi's idea, and Nidhi persuaded everybody. Namrata. Yes, so, yes, and Prajakta ma'am is also a great contributor, but she is not here, I think. So, Namrata, Nidhi, then Ketki, and our Sustainable Development or United Nations Project Head, Dr. Asmita Joshi. So, thank you so much for contributing in a great way to the BNCA's progress. Thank you.
We thank you all for your presence. Thank you.